I'm here with Grim. Um, some people haven't got on yet. Some people may be planning on getting on. Usually, when I go live, I get some people that tune in. Grim, here. Today, I'm training with Grim. We're out in the park. There is quite a bit of people out here. So that's good for the training. Desocializes Grim to people, you know, here, and gets him used to, being around people and being able to play and enjoy himself without himself getting in trouble. Today, we're going to be talking about a couple of things that I wanted to go over. I'm going to take some of the stuff off because it's kind of getting heavy. Got my everyday carrying and essentials inside of there. Some of the things that we're going to be talking about while I'm training with Grim is things like should you have your dog bite people? Should you be teaching your dog to bite? Here, Grim might wander off a little bit. He notices that I'm live. It's not as focused on him as he would want me to be. So we might try to test those limits a little bit today, but we'll get him right back. We're gonna practice some. I'll probably practice some recall with him, some recall drills. He's got a lot of energy because he's been in the house a little bit since I, started working back at my job. Had a little bit of a summer break, but now I'm back. And then I had some really bad allergies that had got in the way with me recording and doing a lot of the work that I usually do with that. But you know, we're back at it. We're back rocking. Everything's fine. Had a really bad sore throat. It got pretty bad. Grim, here. I got a really bad sore throat and it got pretty bad. Come here. Hey, come on. Yes. Sit. Like, yes. Stay. Yeah, got a really bad sore throat. Got pretty bad, but I'm all healed up now, ready to go. And took me a little bit of a break off of YouTube, but I noticed when I get like a little bit of a break like that from doing what I usually do in my normal schedule, it sometimes like messes things up. You know, hey, thank you, I appreciate you. Yeah, I caught your comment. Um, thank you. Grim's over there playing inside of the field. Yeah, we definitely need more people on the live, but I can't be upset at people because it's kind of my fault. My schedule is kind of irregular. Sometimes I hop on live and sometimes I don't. It just depends on what's going on because I work two jobs. I'm a teacher, an elementary school teacher. I teach fifth grade, and I also work for the Boys and Girls Club. So I go in at work at about 6 in the morning and don't get off at till like sometimes 6 to 7 at night. During the summers, I'll have more time though, so I'll only be working till about 6. But I'll have more time in the daytime because I don't have to go until about 2 since school's not started up. That'll change, of course, once summer school starts up because I also do summer school teaching. But yeah, it's definitely needed. We need more people to get on to talk about their dogs and start working. Like even with two jobs and working that much, I still find the time, an hour a day, to get out and train my dog as much as possible. And it's not just for him; it's for me as well because I need that time to de-stress after work. Oh yeah, I do a whole bunch of stuff. I'm always doing something. I blame it on my ADHD. Once I start going, I don't stop. I just go all day. I'm like the Energizer Bunny. I got a real hard work ethic. Right now, I'm currently working on a project for my backyard, like building my fence and stuff. Hey, that's what's up. What type of dog is it? Here, boy. Sit. Good boy. Like down. Like this. Yeah. Hey man, the dog's a dog. This is what I really think when I start thinking about a dog. This is what separates a dog from me. Is your dog high energy or is it not high energy? Because that's really where the focus matters. If the dog has a whole bunch of energy, then it's probably coming from a work line, or it has work line inside of it that it was bred to work on fields. If not, then it's probably a dog that chills at home and does things based off of that. Yeah, definitely. So you're in the right place. I hope you're subscribed. You're definitely in the right place. Today, what we're talking about is your dog and should you teach it to bite people, right? I have a German Shepherd. I'm a very militant person. You know, I believe in martial arts. That's some of my background. I've done martial arts for about 16 years. Um, you know, I grew up in California in Riverside, so I had to do a lot of fighting growing up. Um, and should you have your dog bite somebody? Well, there's two answers to that. There's yes and there's no. And I first start off with the no because um, inside of a self-defense situation, our dogs aren't there inside of the house to bite the person. If the situation arises to where your dog has to bite the person, great. But odds are, if it's a home invasion and there's a chance that that person has a firearm, and hopefully you at home have a firearm as well, it's highly recommended because you can't fight a person with a firearm with a bat. It's not going to work. You're outgunned, and if you think that you're going to win with that bat, you're also out of your mind. Not going to happen. I'm even as scared if I'm like in a situation where I have my AR, it runs out of ammo, and I gotta go for my sidearm. I'm gonna be even scared in that situation. So you having a bat and the home invader has, his pistol, I'm scared for you. You know, I would like to think that my dog is like a superhero and would come in and take the guy out, but odds are that's probably not going to happen. Odds are, if that person has a gun and they break into my house, odds are my dog's probably not going to make it. Hi, Hannah. Welcome to my live. Odds are my dog's probably not going to make it, right? So it's up to me to protect my house, especially as a father. Happy Father's Day, by the way. I had missed that, but odds are that's what's going to happen, you know. So I'm loaded with my arms. I'm ready to die for my family, just as this person must be thinking that they're ready to die since they just home invaded you, right? So your dog's job is not to protect you necessarily. This is where it's going to come in, where your dog is going to protect you. Your dog is going to protect you through barking. That's going to do two things. Before that person can even enter your house, your dog, you want to get that dog treats and reward it. Reward it as much as possible for barking at the person walking down the street. Reward the dog for barking when people come to your house and come to your door. Reward your dog for barking when it comes to people who are acting strange around it. Now, I'm not saying have your dog bark at every stranger that it sees on the street. We don't want that. But you definitely want your dog alerting you to situations that seem uncertain and that seem suspicious. You want that. That's a good thing because that's going to prevent a lot of things from happening like a home invasion, right? And I'm not just talking as somebody who has no experience in the game. I'm talking to somebody who had two pit bulls and somebody broke into my house and stole my things, right? A lot of things can be prevented with dogs that bark, which also goes, I made the mistake of leaving my dogs inside of the kennel, which wasn't a good idea. So I don't recommend anybody to crate their dogs. I know some people have to because of work purposes, but if you don't have to crate your dogs, don't do it. Leave them outside of the crate when you're not at work. You know, teach them to be housebroken and take that dedication and then raise them out of standard because, situations arise and you don't want your dog to be out of the kennel when you're not home. Normal for a dog to bark. If they see people, they definitely have the right because they can sense danger. Yeah, Eric, I believe that too because like I see a lot of people tell their dogs to shut up as soon as somebody starts barking when they come to their door. It's the craziest thing. I'm like, no, that dog is doing their job. They're doing what they're supposed to. Like, even if you have a small dog like a Chihuahua, right? Like that dog, that demon out of hell, that dog has to do its job, which is alerting you when people come to your house. And your dog is not going to beat that guy who has a rifle. It's not going to happen. Who has a shotgun, who has a pistol. It's not going to happen. There was a a guy who broke into the White House one time. Like he didn't get inside. The German Shepherd had stopped him before he could get to the when he got into the gate. He hopped the fence. German Shepherd came out, latched onto the guy. The guy had ended up. I don't know if the guy ended up stabbing him or the guy ended up shooting the dog. But afterwards, the dog was very injured. One second, Grim, here, come on, hurry, come on. Sit. Boy, yes. So the guy was very injured, right? Um, or the dog was very injured. The guy was injured too. They ended up stopping the guy. And this is the dog that was professionally trained to protect somebody at the White House. They're not messing around with the training. They do a good job when it comes to these canines. And even that dog wasn't, a superhero enough to stop the guy before the guy injured the dog very severely. Luckily, they were able to take the dog and rehome it. But there was no way that that dog could be on the force anymore. It had been injured to the point where there was nothing that anybody could do. Crazy enough. So your dog is not going to be a superhero inside of that situation. And that's okay because he doesn't have to. What you need to have is a plan. When that dog is alerting at that full extent and you know that it's going into that situation, there's two things that you need to have. You need to have a command for your family that alerts them to some type of safety plan that they can go into the room. You need to grab your firearm. You need to know where your firearm is, and you need to make sure that everybody inside of your house is trained with that firearm just in case the situation arises. And then you need to go into the room that you deem necessary for that situation. Don't play around with your code word. Have your code word something that is secure, that you know that when that code word is said, then it's go time. If your code word is pineapple juice, then when pineapple juice is said, you go and you handle that situation. You go to where you need to be. Don't make a code word that you're going to play around with, don't make a code word that you're going to joke around with. If pineapple juice is your code word, then it needs to stay serious. So you're going to get your family inside of that room. You're going to stay there with your gun loaded and you're going to do your job. Whatever you do, the wind is blowing. Hold on. This is very important. I don't care if you just jumped on. You need to hear this. Whatever you do in a home invasion situation where you have your dog and your dog's done already did its job of alerting you, do not have a plan where you go up the stairs. You are not going to win in a firefight walking up the stairs. It's not going to be possible. You're not going to win. Professionals can't even do it. Yeah. And you know what's crazy is with that, just that bark, most of the time you don't even have to train the dog to do it. The dog will just do it. And then all you need to do is encourage the dog to continue. Yeah, that's fine. It's steps. I explained this earlier too. I have a low view count on my live. It's fine. I don't go live all the time. I usually do it sporadically because I have a pretty hard work schedule. I work two jobs. So YouTube is something that I do on the side. But, my subscriber count is still pretty high for just starting out. But, back to what we were talking about. Your dog's not going to be able to take a bullet and, be okay. That's not realistic, right? Your dog's job is not to bite the person that comes into your house, right? And if you're not training your dog, right, and you get into a situation, for instance, like when I go to grab my gun, sometimes my dog gets excited because he knows when I go to grab my firearm, it means that he's going to be able to go on for a walk, right? So he'll jump up. That's one of the things that you have to train your dog not to do, keep its paws on the ground. And sometimes I don't even do the best job at this with my dog, but like you have to train them not to jump up because what happens is when you grab your firearm and you go to draw on the guy, well, your dog jumps up and he gets into the way, you know? So you don't want your dog jumping up like that. But it doesn't matter that much because your dog's job is not to be there while you shoot the guy anyway. Because your dog's job is only to alert you that this person is in your house and this person may do you harm or bring danger to your family. It is your dog is your first defense as a alarm to let you and everybody in the family know that there may be some type of danger. That's your first line of defense. Let me grab him. Come here. Let's go. Here. I only put a leash on them because there's some kids that came up to the creek and they're playing around. And with me talking on live, I don't want to be distracted and then go after. Let's see. One time, me and my friends were downstairs and my dog started barking at the door and he started to freak out. And yeah, and that's good because your dog is usually alerting you when it starts barking. It's letting you know there's something going wrong, right? And dogs have a keen sense of hearing. They know when somebody's walking down the street. They also know when somebody's entering the house that shouldn't be entering the house. I tell this story all the time. One day I had an afro. I left. I came back, got my hair cut, had a new outfit on, and as soon as I stepped through the door, my dog was immediately on alert, and he was like, "What are you doing here?" So he came at me with that energy, and I had to be like, "Hey, hey, 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 chill, boy, it's me," you know. And eventually he calmed down, but he was on that. So you have to listen to your dogs. A lot of people get mad; they start telling their dogs to shut up when their dogs start barking and acting crazy. But you gotta know that that's that dog's job, doing what you bought the dog for. What you got the dog for is doing it. Hey, shouting out Haywood, Haywood. I don't know how to pronounce that next part, man. And we were only with my brothers. My parents were gone. I was so scared. Yeah, having the dog, man, can save your life, literally. And here's the statistic: some people know, and some people don't. But when you get to the door, uh, when your dog is at the door and barking and things like that, 99% of the time, if somebody does come to your house and they plan on robbing you or plan on home invading, majority of the time they'll change their mind before entering to your house because they know that your dog has just woken everybody up and it's just alerted the person that's living there. The second thing is if your dog is alerting you and the person still comes into your house knowing that the dog just alerted everybody into the house and you have a second alarm, which I recommend everybody have some sort of alarm, some sort of trip alarm. You can get them at Home Depot, you can get them at Menards, you can get them places real cheap. They're a little small, you put them up onto the door. As soon as somebody opens up the door, they go off, right? They start ringing and they don't turn off, right? Or you can go and pay like ADT, it's a lot of money, or places like that, and they'll have you on there. And what will happen is once they set up that alarm off, if they're still inside of your house, I say, man, it's fair game, right? They brought the party to you. You might as well have fun on the party. You might as well have fun. You might as well join the party too. Grab your firearm. No, you might as well grab your firearm and bring the party to them because they already brought it to you. You know, at that point, there's nothing that you can do. Yeah, yeah. So I would make sure that you understand the plan that your family set up. You understand what you're doing, and how to continue in that process because it can get kids distracted me. They just yelling at me. Are you on TikTok? I told them nah. They still going. So just make sure that you understand the plan that your family has set in place. Make sure if you don't have a plan set in place, make sure that you develop that plan because you never know what can happen. And don't be one of those people that think, oh man, it could never happen to me because it definitely can. You know, it's happened to me. And it didn't even happen to me when I was living in the hood. It happened to me when I moved out to the country. When I moved out to the country, that's the time that I got home invaded. You know, it can happen to anybody. All it takes is for you to have a PlayStation in your house and a TV in your house, and somebody willing to come and get it. Hey, thanks, man. Hey, all I want to do is help folks out. You know, make sure you listen to your dogs, man. Take care of your dogs. Your dogs will take care of you. It's their job to alert you. It's not their job to go and attack the guy and save your entire family. That is not their job. Like honestly, if you go and fight some guy and try to, attack him with your dog, you're probably going to get bit in the process of attacking with your dog. or it's not going to turn out the way that you planned it to. And if the guy is armed, whether that is with a firearm or whether that's with a knife, you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation, and you don't want to do that. And you also don't want to risk your life in that situation that you have your family, because then they're going to come for your family. Like, you really done lost on both sides. So you have to make sure that you're protecting yourself. But hey, thank you. You have to make sure that you're protecting yourself, and you have to make sure that you're prepared for the situation for when it happens. I used to think that stuff, you could just get by without certain stuff, but I've learned over my life of getting to my age that if there's a fire, right, you have to be prepared for that. I have a friend whose fire alarm goes off. So every time I come over there, I'm like, man, when are you going to change the battery? You got a whole daughter. You got to change the fire alarm battery, and he never changes it. And it's like, I got people in my family, same thing, never change the fire alarm battery. I'm like, what if there's a fire? They're like, no, it's not. I'm like, yes, it can happen. I've been in a fire before. I had to jump through the window. If it wasn't for the fire alarm, I probably wouldn't have survived. And that's what your dog is. It's your alarm to let you know. If somebody walks up into your house and they're suspicious to the dog's not just going to stand there and look at them with a blank stare. He's going to alert you. He's going to let you know, like, there's something not right. There's somebody in this house, and he is not the person that we live with. It's not okay. Depending on your breed, he might just straight up attack. But odds are 9 times out of 10, if you're not training your dog to be an attack dog, then your dog is not going to attack some person. 9 times out of 10, it's just not going to happen. I'm waiting for any comments. If you got any questions to ask at this point, go ahead and drop them down, and I'll answer them, and then we can have a regular conversation. I got Grim here, by the way. Probably seeing too well. The only reason why I put a leash on him is because I don't want him to run off with the kids, because they was calling for him and all sorts of stuff. And if he goes over there, it could be a problem. So they would get scared. He's too big of a dog. Go ahead, drop any comments we're talking about or anything that you got to say. Um, we're talking about protecting your home, having your dog in the home, and what's the role of your dog in the home? Is the role of your dog to fight, or is the role of your dog to alert the family before it gets to that situation? What do you do if the dog is sleeping and there is home invasion? Are they most likely to wake up? If there is a home invasion, your dog will wake up immediately. If the dog doesn't wake up immediately, the dog will wake up soon after. It's going to happen. Sometimes when we train our dogs and we're outside for a long time and they get exhausted, sometimes they will sleep for a little bit. But as soon as the dog hears something that it's not used to, it's going to wake up. Like, let's say, for instance, you usually come through the back door and somebody's coming through the front door. The dog's going to wake up because it knows, like, okay, they came through the front door. Something's not right. If a window breaks, they know that's not normal. If somebody's lifting up the window, the dog knows that's not normal. That's not usually what happens at this time of night. The dog understands your schedule as much as you understand your schedule. In fact, I would say the dog understands your schedule more because it has the time to sit there and analyze and watch the house, because that's what it does all day. Like, sometimes we don't have the time to do that. Whether that's because you have to work or that's because you're a human that lives life. You're going to school, it's still the same. You don't understand the schedule of the house as much as the dog knows the schedule of the house. That dog knows the exact time that mailman is going to walk past your house. And he's going to go off and flip out every single time that mailman walks past the house every day. They already know. They know your schedule. They even know you. When you get up to grab your keys and stuff, your dog knows, oh, we're going for a walk. Or he knows, oh, you're going out to leave. You're going to work. Your dog knows. So he's going to notice anything that's irregular that happens before you even probably notice, before anybody in the house does. Grim's just chilling. It's super hot out. This summer is crazy. It's super hot. It's super hot. It's probably the hottest we've been out here. And in Iowa, winters is cold, but summers is heck, man. They get hot. This is probably one of the hottest times I've ever experienced out here in Waterloo, in Iowa. It's crazy. Hey, thank you. His name is Grim. I named him Grimnir. His nickname is Grim, and Grimnir is Odin, the wearer of many masks. Yeah, it's been super hot. That's man. Some places I don't know. It's getting up there so bad. I'm kind of concerned about the weather. I started thinking about buying and installing solar panels on top of my house just in case the weather goes south real bad. Indiana is super hot. I bet Indiana's crazy out there. I think them little girls is gone, kind of throwing me off a little bit. I got to get better at speaking when there's so many people around. But the park is packed today. There's like a lot of people. But it's not hot right now because I think it's getting ready to rain a bit. So yeah, but it's been really hot. Yeah, I think it might rain tomorrow as well. I think it might rain. If it does rain, we'll still be out there training. We'll probably train in the rain. There's been times where it's been storming, and we've been out here working on obedience and just working things in general that have to do with keeping your composure in situations like when it's thundering and things like that, just so you're prepared, so your dog's not tripping out. If there's ever what we call a bug out situation where you got to take off and grab all your things, drop everything, and go, like your dog won't be scared in those natural disasters. It's good to train in the rain too. You get a lot of privacy when you're out in public places when you train in the rain. So you can have your dog off leash in parks when it's raining real hard, and you won't be bothered by anybody. And it's great for the dog because that adversity creates a great dog. It creates an obedient dog when it's time to be obedient. You know what I'm saying? Like tough times make what they say tough men. Tough times make a tough dog, and you have to put your dog through situations like that. And you can really see the difference when you look at people who have dogs and they never let them out in the snow, and then when the snow comes, the dog doesn't want to step at your paws in the snow. You know, you got to let your dog get out there and experience life, just like we got to let our kids experience life. If we never let our kids do anything and experiment with things, then when they get older, it's kind of harder for them to experiment with things and to do the things that they need to do. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if Indiana's in Tornado Alley, but if it is, that's crazy. In Iowa, we get a lot of tornadoes. Like we get a ton. None of them run through this city, but when they do, like when there's tornadoes around, the whole city shuts down because tornadoes get so crazy. That's the only thing that I don't like about living in the Midwest is all them tornadoes. In California, we got like earthquakes. They ain't too bad, but them tornadoes, they get worse. I think them girls is gone. I'm gonna let him play. I might walk around with him a little bit while he's playing the lake. How's that? Did that work? I think I know what it is. I think my headphones were hooked up to the I think my headphones were hooked up to the Bluetooth, and when I moved, it decided that it needed to be connected. I forgot about it. I better go grab them. It's good for him to give him some exercise, walking back and forth. He's just running. Yeah, if you didn't like the, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You can find it on the homepage, on our channel page. I just learned that it actually helps the algorithm better with getting this information out to people when you subscribe from the homepage. I don't know why that is, but apparently it works because I've heard a lot of people talking about it so far. Whoa, you got a high energy dog and they never want to leave? Will the dog step out in the backyard and things like that? Woo, it's a heck of a walk. This backpack gets heavy sometimes. If the dog, I'm assuming that the dog will go outside and probably play in the backyard. What does the dog? Will you take the dog out? Will it go to the dog park? Will it go to places like that? Go swim. Well, if she doesn't like a lot of people at the park, that's fine. You don't need that many people for to socialize. If you could get, how much is gizzards in your local area? If you could get a pack of meat as cheap as $1, which usually gizzards are, it depends. I don't know what the economy is in Indiana, but if you could get a pack of gizzards, what you could do is take your dog, go out in front of like a convenience store or Walmart, take like, if you can, 2 to 3 hours in a day and just sit out in front of that convenience store. And when people walk by, start feeding the dog. Don't feed the dog a whole bunch all at once, you know, just start feeding the dog, you know. And then eventually what will happen is the dog will become socialized to the people around it, and they'll stop looking at them like they're a threat all the time. And it'll start thinking, oh, well, when we're outside in this open environment, people tend to be nice, I guess, how to say. And you're basically, what you're doing is desensitizing the dog to the environment, which means you're making the dog not have such a high reaction to being around people. Hi, shout out to Edwan. What's up? So what that does is make it so your dog feels more confident when it's around people. I honestly don't recommend going to dog parks. Maybe when they're in the early stages of life, to get them that socialization around other dogs. But the dog park becomes a very dramatic place, and it can become a very dramatic place pretty quickly. So I don't even waste my time with going to them half the time, especially because Grimm's still intact.
And what tends to happen with dogs that are intact is if you get dogs that aren't intact, they usually try to attack your dog because of the smell that the dog produces off. They don't like it, and then it becomes a problem to other dogs. It's absolutely crazy, but it definitely it's definitely a thing. You know, they get mad because your dog still has all its parts. Come here. Yes, bring it. Break it. Come on, break it. Yeah, break it. I'm trying to pick this dog up. It's pretty big. You can't fit in it. Come on, break it. Hey, Edwan, do you have any questions? We were talking about protecting your home and protecting your dog earlier. I'm about to start going into the topic again pretty soon here. I'm gonna give about 4 more minutes of just talking and answering questions, and then we'll go back up into the topic because it's a very topic. It's a very important topic that needs to be had. Hey, but if you can get them for like $1 to $3, I mean, you can't beat raw meat. Like you could go to the store and spend $10 on treats. That's basically like buying a bag of candy bars and then feeding them to your dog every day. Or you could take that same money and buy 10 packs of chicken. You know, like you can go and take that money and buy some raw meat to feed your dog. That's going to be healthier for your dog, for one. You know, because half those treats is nothing but filler. They really don't have too much meat in them. If they did, they would rot half the time. So they have to shoot them up with preservatives. It's not really all that great for your dog. Your dogs always have like their protective mode on, or only when people get close. So, oh man, that's a good question. I'm about to use that for some of my videos. That's a great question. So, dogs don't always have, they're not always in protection mode, right? Dogs only go into protection mode when two things happen: when they're scared or they're unsure. When they're scared, they'll go into protection mode. When they're unsure, they'll go into protection mode. And this even holds with dogs who are protection dogs, right? Because once the dog suspects something and it becomes eerie of it, it makes the dog want to defend. The dog doesn't have to defend if it's around things that it likes, you know, that it understands, that have been in the area for a long time. Take German Shepherds, for instance. German Shepherds were built to be on farms and to protect the assets on the farm, right? So when everything is cool on the farm, the dog is cool. If not, it would attack its owner. But since everything is on the farm and everything is cool, the dog is cool. As soon as an invader or another animal that's not supposed to be on the farm comes in, then the dog switches into protection mode because now it registers in its mind that there's something that it has to protect. You know, dogs are very similar to humans when it comes to regards of self-regulating. Like if my dog gets too hot, he'll usually push the garage door open and go inside of the garage. Like, you know, it's usually cracked a little bit, so he'll just nudge it and push it and go in. But he'll usually go in because he recognizes that he's hot. Dogs can do the same regulation when it comes to people who aren't supposed to be in your home, or when it comes to people who aren't supposed to be there in general, or people who look suspicious. If you ever notice, if you ever take your dog out and it sees something that it doesn't understand, especially with German Shepherds, like, and a lot of people will tell you this, if there's like a statue, your German Shepherd might just start barking at that statue. Your dog might just start barking at that statue if it doesn't understand what's going on, because it's something new to it, and it takes a threat with it because it doesn't understand it. It's just like that old saying that we used to say back in the day, you know, um, people fear what they don't understand. And it's definitely the same with dogs. So that's the time when that protection mode comes on, right? Uh, I think I'm saying this right. Charles X, hey, what's up? Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the Prairie Shepherd. Grim, come swim. Come on. Yeah, I can't wait to get out and start fishing. It's been too hot to fish. I don't know. I feel like the fish are migrated out here. Either that or people just have overfished the river. because we have not been catching anything this year. Go swim. Yeah, he could swim. This water is pretty shallow though. He just runs in this water. But he knows that go swim means like jump in the water. So he'll run and then he'll just go jump in it. Oh yeah, yeah. I wouldn't let my dog in the pool, but when it comes to like some lakes, I'll let him jump in there. Or if we're walking in a creek, I'll like walk in the creek with the dog. What you can do is you can go out and get like a kiddie pool for like $5, and you can throw your dog up in there and get some socialization with that water, so you can start teaching it how to swim. Um, it's best when they're a puppy to teach them how to swim, but it's definitely possible when they're adult. All you got to do is put like a leash on your dog and then get in the water with the dog. Like if we're going in the creek, I'm also getting in the water with the dog. I don't ever expect my dogs to do something that I wouldn't do with them. So if I expect my dog to get up onto a park bench, well, I need to be able to get up on that park bench and jump off as well. I'm not just going to have my dog do stuff that I wouldn't do. That way, if I see a log that I want the dog to jump over, I'm not going to jump over that log. Then I wouldn't allow my dog to jump over that log. It's a good way to keep your dog safe. Yeah, those little pools work too, especially in the summer if you got a high energy dog and it's got a thick coat. If you go let them sit in that pool, they'll sit in there all day. Especially if you got a pool that he can actually like float in a little bit. Like that takes a lot of stress off of the bones of bigger dogs, and it allows them just to float and be like chill, and they'll just chill out in them pools. I need to get a little pool for Grim. I need to buy one. I need to put that on my list of things to have. But I mean, we got so many places where you could just jump in, and half the places that we got out here, they're not that far from here. It's like everything's like 10, 20 minutes away. Like 20 minutes is like you drove a long time. Out here, there's like, it's just land. Like you can go and do all sorts of stuff. That's one of the greatest things about living in the Midwest. And it's cheap. It's cheap. I think the Midwest is one of the best places to live, especially Iowa. Iowa is so cheap. A house that's going to cost you $300,000 in California is going to cost you $80,000 out here. My brother has a big dog that doesn't really like water, but she loves to explore and take walks. Yeah. How often do you do off-leash walks? Off-leash walks are perfect for everything that you're trying to everything that you're trying to teach. Yeah, it's the best out here. Iowa's probably the cheapest place I've ever lived. You get everything that you want cheap. Lumber, if you need to build something, it's cheap. Everything that you want to do. And the gun laws is the best. Like out here, you don't even have to have a license to carry. You could just carry, you know. Out here, there's not a lot of restrictions on the things you can do. When you go to them bigger cities, you know, in those places that are more like what they say progressive, you know, you can't do a lot. So if you ever needed to protect yourself, it's very hard for you to obtain those things, you know. I think it's one of the best places that you can raise kids in too. I grew up in Nevada. In California area, you go to Nevada, it's horrible for children. Right when you step off the airport, there's casinos. Right when you're inside of the airport, they got slot machines. It's the drugs is rampant there. Like there's not much that you could do in Nevada as a child. It's a city that's built for older folks that are retiring. When you come to Iowa, it's a place that people go to raise their children. You don't have to worry about finding certain things inside of the park. You know, you're not going to find any syringes in the park. Usually the parks is clean. It's a great place to raise kids. And I live in one of the probably one of that they would call the worst cities in Iowa. I live in Waterloo. You know, stuff happens here. Like somebody got a firearm pulled out on them just the other day. The person shot the person in his groin and then shot him in his arm. And it turned out it was one of my friends that had hired somebody to do a job, and you know, just crazy stuff. But that crime is nowhere compared to the city, right? You get into the city and crime is completely rampant, you know. Like if I was living in the city, I would have to walk a dog every day, and I would have to carry like all the time walking my dog. Like I do anyway, but it would have to be like a personal mission because it is crazy in the city. Like you can go to sleep, sirens are going until you wake up. The ambulance sirens don't stop. They start at 10 and they end at 5 in the morning, and then you wake up and they keep going. That's crazy. Hey, hello, welcome to the channel. Hey, what's up? It's me and Grim. We're talking. Um, Grim, here. Come on. Bring it. Yes, 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 yes. Good boy. He's right there. He's just chilling. He's having fun. We're just hanging out. We've been talking for a good 30 minutes. So, yeah. Hey, you know what? That's crazy that you said that. You said you're a city girl, dreams of being a farm girl. That's some crazy stuff because out here, the people who feel like they're like, we're country out here, we want to move to the city. And the people in the city want to move out here. I never understood it. Like, people in the city want to move out here and we want to go out there. It's crazy. I lived in both. I grew up in the city starting off as a kid, and then I had moved to the country. But like, yeah, I wouldn't want to go back to the city. City is crazy. City life is crazy. I'm good here, you know, in the country with my dog. Like, for instance, I could fish out here. I can hunt out here. I can do archery training. I could go out. I could do anything that I want out here that deals with the outdoors. You know, in the city, like where my uncle lives in Oakland, right? Out there, to fish is $100 a day. To get a day pass for fishing is $100. I live in a town, so we don't have much space, but it's okay because our town is pretty popular. Yeah, that's what's up. Some of these high schools out here got like graduating class is like 100 people, sometimes even less. It's because we're sick of it. I'm tired of being around so much people. Right? Yeah, hey, yeah, that's a big thing too. Like, I'm not gonna say there's not drug problems out here. Wherever you go, there's gonna be it, but definitely not like out there. Like in California, we have a place called Skid Row. And when you go to Skid Row, there's just tents. There's tents with homeless people living inside of the tents, and it's all down the streets. And it's in front of stores. They're just in front of stores, and they don't care. They push shopping carts, and they do their thing, and they live like that. And they okay with living like that. I know because I've had people in my family that's been on Skid Row. You know, and we took Greyhound buses and rode through there. It is absolutely crazy. You can't even, you got to hold, if you're a woman, you got to hold a purse. You better not even just, don't bring the purse. Just don't bring your purse because somebody's going to snatch it. It's going to happen. That's why I always preach, keep some protection on you. Don't ever walk without any protection. Don't go anywhere without protection. You're in Canada? Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, y'all laws is ridiculous. I'm from Toronto, Canada. They legalized meth, and no way. In the British Columbia, it's ridiculous. If what you're saying is true, that is absolutely insane. That is absolutely insane. You cannot tell me that in Canada, the place where you can get in trouble with the law for fighting off a home invader with a sharpened stick. Y'all in Canada, y'all have to have y'all dogs bite people. I know I just said don't have your dogs bite people, but in Canada, you ain't got no choice. You're going to jail if you defend your family there. This is insane. There ain't no way. So they legalized all that in Canada, and you can't even defend off an invader with a sharpened stick. That, oh, man. I don't even know. Who do y'all talk to about that? Y'all got to get that fixed. There's some good people out in the world, but too much out there. Yeah, you know, I ain't gonna say all drug people, all people who have been addicted to something is bad, because I've got people in my family who's been addicted to things. You know, I've got people in my family currently that's addicted to things and that's going through things. It don't make you a bad person, but it definitely make you a person who makes bad decisions. You know, some people, they didn't make that decision. Some people have made that decision for them. But there's things that you can do in life to prevent yourself from getting caught up in those situations. And odds are, if you're one of those people who accidentally get caught up in those situations, then you're gonna go through a lot in life. It's best to just stay away from it because man, it could get crazy. Um, can't bear arms, can't defend your home. Yep, sounds. But you could do H, right? You could do H. That is crazy. Oh man. So I wonder what they thinking. Like, this person is is this person's gonna be on this, and he's not gonna do anything violent. Man, you don't know what you gonna do when you on stuff. You don't know because you what they call DRG sick, right? You DRG sick. Anything can happen. You know, that goes into a point real quick. I'm gonna go off on a sidetrack real quick. But if somebody comes up into your home and it's a home invader, and they're lit off something, they just geek, right? If your dog goes to attack that assailant, that home invader, odds are that dog's not gonna win. I seen a guy one time he took 15 rounds and still didn't go down, and then he was bleeding profusely. He still didn't go down. So you have to be cautious of that when you're sending your dog off to battle to fight for your family. It's not your dog's job to fight for your family. It's your job. Huddle up beside in the room that you guys picked. That's going to be the meeting point for when that invasion happens. Buckle down with your firearm. Buckle down. If you could get your dog in the room with you, great. But what you don't need to do is send your dog off there thinking that he's a superhero. He's not. He has nerves, skin, flesh, and blood, bones, like all of us. And it's not going to defect a bullet. He does not have Teflon for skin, right? Protect your dogs, protect yourself. Instead of throwing in jail, they need to create better programs for rehab. Okay, so this is coming from experience, right? Like, I have never done it, but I got family members, real close family members, right? Rehab is, like, tell you the truth, a lot of dudes think that jail is fun. They think that jail is fun. I know as a logical person, you would say, no, it's not. Yeah, no, some people do think that jail is fun. They like the camaraderie inside of jail as well. But, like, rehab, a lot of people take rehab as a vacation. There's some people that go to rehab just to get their teeth fixed, right? So rehab doesn't work also. What you need is solid family structures, and sometimes that don't work either. If somebody really interested in getting into it, they might have mental problems. They might go down that path. There ain't really no fix to it. The only thing that you could change that could possibly affect that is if you change the culture. If you change the culture of the world, if you change the culture of the area that you're living in, if your government does things to do that, not just like simple DARE program that ends up getting people even more addicted to drugs, they have to actually be working towards changing the culture. And this will prevent people from getting into those situations. A lot of times, too, your economy will fix that as well. If the economy is doing great where you live, there will be less people who are addicted to DRGs, right? If you get caught up in DRGs, a lot of people can't back out because they are too afraid to stop their routine of I was just talking about this the other day, just this morning with my sister. When you're addicted to some things, it actually changes the chemical makeup of your brain. It's similar to dogs. You give them treats all the time, it changes the way they think about training. It's about more of eating the treat than it is about actually doing the training. That's why I tell you, teach your dog with your food so that you're feeding it and working with it with the food. Those type of substances are very powerful. They literally change your mind. You can stay addicted to that stuff forever. It will change your mind completely. Yeah, hey, sorry, I get off. Sometimes I get off on a tangent. I already talked about, what I was going to talk about today, and went through it. Yeah, we train dogs here. We train, I mostly focus on high energy dogs, and I focus on dogs and trainers that need that help with building the confidence in their dog and creating a dog, strong straight out the gate. I train dogs that are good for going on hikes, that are good for being out with your family. If you need to go to a baseball game, the dog is well mannered from your neighbor's perspective, so they understand the basic commands of sit, stay, come, things like that. Those basic commands, the basic obedience that is going to get your dog through life. I don't focus on anything that's fantasy. And quite honestly, I'm gonna start eating up some of these YouTube trainers who talk that they dog need to be looking at them 24/7, walking and healing constantly and staring at you. It's absolutely crazy. It doesn't add to anything, and it doesn't help anybody, and it doesn't help the people who are watching and subscribe to their channels. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Aaron, salute. I have a Pomeranian. She loves to bark at strangers, and another issue will be aggressive if you try to take her food away. How do I get her to stop it? Okay, so you got a Pomeranian. I wouldn't necessarily say the barking at strangers is a bad thing. You kind of want your dog to alert you to people, but if you want your dog to be more, let's say, um, okay with those people around it, what you need to do is to socialize your dog to people. So take your Pomeranian out one day. I know you're going to look crazy. You're going to look like a crazy person, but stand in front of a store and sit there and feed your dog. Check this out, right? Just hear me out. You've never seen somebody who is a bum that's in front of a store that has a dog and that dog ever acting up. And I guarantee you that person is not doing clicker training. That person is not going to a trainer. What that person is doing is simply standing there, and the dog is getting that environmental socialization. That dog is getting those people to walk by it constantly. That dog is understanding that people are okay. They're not always a scary threat. But what's good is Pomeranians and those small dogs are made to be alert dogs. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. That dog was made to alert you to things that seem strange. So the dog is simply scared and wants to let you know that this may be a threat, even though it's not a threat. So what you have to do is just bring that dog around people. Feed that dog snacks like I say chicken gizzards. They're only $1. If you can get them where you live, I would get some chicken gizzards or some type of meat and then feed that dog that meat while people are walking by. It'll get the dog to be okay with that, and it'll lessen that. But reward your dog for barking when it is inside of the house. Uh, so the food. This is best, honestly, when the dog is still a puppy and you can feed that dog the food, and then like build it up from when it's a puppy. But I'm assuming that the dog is older than a puppy, right? So did you always have the dog, or is this a dog that you had brought in? What you can do is feed the dog, and she really, yeah, some dogs do. They'll also take up guarding when they're bored. So this is what you do, all right? You're going to take that Pomeranian, and luckily for you, I'm guessing that Pomeranian is not a high energy dog. You're going to work that dog out for a good 30 minutes to an hour, just training it. Obedience training. You can have it on a leash walking in the backyard. You can have it off leash, whatever. Just train it, exercise it, do something that's going to cause it to move around a ton. You're going to get that dog as tired as you can, because remember this, a tired dog is a well-behaved dog. A tired dog is a good dog. When you go to feed that dog, start off feeding that dog in your hand, right? While it's tired. Do not start this if your dog is full of energy and it already has that anxiety. If you have to, feed it from your hand, drop it on the floor so the dog can eat. And then slowly desensitize that dog to learning that the dog should be eating out of your hand. Then when you go to grab the dog's bowl or anything like that, it understands that you are the one feeding the dog and not the other way around. That it's the dog's food. No, it's my food that I give you for doing a good job, and that's for working, right? And then feed the dog while you train. Do this, eventually your dog will just get used to it, and it'll be like, oh, okay. You're desensitizing the dog, and you're socializing the dog. So, Shirley, how often do you live stream so I know when to join the live? I'm going to try to start at about 7 o'clock every day. Don't hold me to it, because I am sporadic with live streams. I'm not the best with them, especially because I have like such a hard job to where I'm constantly doing things all the time. It's almost impossible for me to get on live streams like I want to. But I got videos coming out. I've scheduled videos like weeks ahead, so they're gonna start dropping pretty soon. I had a dry spell there where I got sick. My throat got all messed up, and I was like, oh, I just can't do anything. But now I'm back. Yes, raised her. She's 2 years old. That's what's up. Grim is about 2 as well. Someone's getting arrested. Yeah, those sirens were going crazy. I don't know what that was. I don't think it was police, though. I think it was an ambulance. Hey, no problem. Hey, tell me how it goes. I'm gonna start posting out some more videos. I'm going over obedience training. That's what I'm gonna be probably focused on for a little bit. Um, and helping people set up that foundation for their dog. Honestly, it doesn't matter what type of dog you own. It doesn't matter what type of dog it is. When it's high energy, yes, you're going to need more focus, but all dogs need obedience. If you look at any training method, the only thing that they're doing is providing a system and they're adding in the obedience. If they're doing clicker training and they're doing food, they're just adding in a system and then they're doing obedience. Whatever you do, it's obedience training, right? It's obedience training. You don't need a shot collar. You don't really need a prong collar. You don't need those type of things. You just need to exercise your dog, work with your dog, take care of your dog. Hey, thank you. I appreciate you. I try to do practical work. I'm not gonna lie, I used to be one of them dudes who be like, yeah, I can walk the dog on the leash and it's loose leash walking. But the older I get, the more that I realize something. It doesn't matter if your dog can perfectly heel. It doesn't matter if your dog can perfectly sit. It doesn't matter if your dog comes to you and sits down right away. Those things aren't the things that matter. The things that matter is if your dog is well mannered to your neighbor's perspective. If your dog can get up onto the vet's table and sit there and not jump around and move around and cause the vet to have to do more work. If your dog is courteous to the other dogs and the people that are around him. If your dog is well socialized for the environment and your dog doesn't go up and just bite some random kid because he hopped in your backyard trying to play with a stick like it's some sort of fairy tale game. I feel like my dog I feel like my dog can only walk I feel like I can only walk her off leash because she's too scared to run away. Hold on. Dog. I feel like my dog. I can only walk her off leash because she's too scared to run away. Oh, she's like a Velcro dog. She wants to stick by your side constantly. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I tell you this though, when you start walking off leash and you're out, doing what you do, your dog is going to stop being by your side, but that's okay. If she's already inside of a routine where she wants to stick by you and she's not going to break that, that's okay too. Don't worry so much about it. Like if you're walking your dog and the dog's behind you off leash, or if it's in front of you off leash, or if it's to your side, none of it really matters, to tell you the truth. None of it really matters unless you're doing like competition sport. And that's the only time that it matters, if you're doing AKC competition. But look where they got the world. We got a bunch of inbred dogs and with a whole bunch of heart problems and dysfunction because of that. So who really cares? He said it does not matter if the dog isn't even trained. They can really save your life. Right, especially a Pomeranian. Pomeranian's letting everybody know where you come from. Excuse my typing. I use this mic. It doesn't always come out. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. There's no judgment here. I'm a teacher and sometimes I misspell things. I got to go back and be like, I missed that. But yeah, if your dog walks next to you and it doesn't need a leash, I would say that's even better. That's exactly what you want, to tell you the truth. I like my dog to go off and explore and not get in any trouble. As you can see, there's a whole soccer game going on here. There's whole families at the park. I haven't had to tell Grim nothing. He's been right here just chilling. The only time he goes out and starts messing with folks is if they're calling him to come over to him. And I'm like, I wish you wouldn't do that. But okay, whatever. It's mostly kids. So it's usually harmless. Yeah, they sure don't. Said pom-poms don't play. They will try to take your head off, and they're small but can jump high. Oh, I've been watching it. They're really good. It's a different. I don't know what kind of soccer it is because it's not regular soccer. They play with a ball that's like about this big, and it looks like it's braided. And they do like all sorts of flips and kicks. Like they'll do a backflip and kick the ball over the net. It's crazy. And they play on like a volleyball net. It's like one team over here, one team over here, and they got the volleyball net, and they're like kicking the ball back and forth. And the ball never hits the ground. They're really good at it. I think the people that do it are Pacific Islanders or they're Marshallese. Well, my phone's at 5%. It's about to die. I'm out in this field. I got to head out. It was great talking to you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. This is the Prairie Shepherd. This is Grim messing around with a giant log. And we're out. Peace.